Hello everybody. This is Grim Deathmate. You can call me Grim. Um, what this is going to be and consist of is a settings video, kind of, for Fortnite. All right, so what we're doing here, we're in creative. I've already got some stuff set up, and I'll go over with you here in just a second. Um, First thing we're going to do, what you're going to want to do is come in here into creative, and you're going to want to look at your island. So you go to My Island, hitting the start button, go to My Island. All right. You're going to want to do a few things on your game. Um, Voice chat, if you like to be able to talk to everybody, put it on all. Max players, you can adjust that and all this other stuff. But one of the important ones, we want a time limit because we are doing settings. We don't want to be limited to a time, so put it at none. Now you look down and there are other options you can set. I recommend to go to the settings menu, and this is where you would go for infinite ammo. Since we're doing a settings video, you're going to want to put infinite ammo on. Infinite consumables, you can turn that on if you want. That'd be like your med kits, etc. Infinite resources, also want to turn that on so that you can use this um, for building if you choose, if you desire to. Maximum building resources 500, from what I understand, is going to be the new standard, so you might as well leave it at 500. Harvest style, I don't mess with that. Allow aim assist, yes, we want to allow that. Um, Allow building, all building, yes. Allowed to edit, just leave it at default. Um, Building can destroy environment. Basically, if you build something, it'll destroy whatever you're building. Well, we're going to be using indestructible walls and floors, so it's really not going to hurt anything. Leave this on, yes. Environment damage, I always put player built only. That means if you start a game, then anything that the players have built can be damaged. Anything that the player has not built that was already there um, will not take damage. All right, so that kind of does it for this part. So what we're going to want to do now, all in manling, allow manling on. Jump fatigue, if you're going to be building in this, yes, building, you want to have jump fatigue because it is in the game. There's no reason to change any of this from the normal, so leave that. Now allow hurdling. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on because in a game you would be allowed to hurdle. Sprinting, you would also be allowed to sprint. Um, Anything that you would be allowed to do in an actual game, you're going to want to leave or set to where it would be just like you were in a battle royale playing solos or squads. Just because we're setting up a map for target practice, basically, or build practice. All right, now we've got those settings done. We go to creative. What you're going to want to do, you want to go to your galleries. So R2, go to the galleries. Now we can go down to search, and we can type in indestructible. So I've already got it up there, indestructible. All right, now we're done. This is my indestructible gallery. All right, so we're going to want to open that up. This is all of the items that are in indestructible. Now, if you like certain ramps out of the group, again, these are things that you can't destroy. Um, I chose this ramp. There's really no difference as far other than aesthetics or the way it looks. You could also choose this. Um, there's really only those two options in indestructible. Uh, what I do recommend is this piece, and I do like these walls. So we're going to pick those, select those walls, select a button for where they're going to go. All right, so these would be the three things you would be building with as far as builds go. All right, so another thing you're going to want to do, the first thing when you go into an island, go to your devices up here. So click on your R2 to go to the devices. Go down to where it says indestructible, obviously, and get rid of that. So we don't need that on there anymore, and it's going to show all the devices. All right, so in this map, I'm using a timer. I also use a pad that allows me to decide what weapons I want. All right, let me go find that. It's a flat pad. Similar to the bouncer. And it is located there. Okay. No, there. No, there. No, it looks very similar to these. I always get them confused, and I apologize for that. There we go. There it is. So the team settings and inventory. So we're going to use that as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and equip that first. Okay, so what you would do, you would equip that. You go back. You place it down. All right. Now it's placed. And you would go into your start button, go to My Island. Go to the creative section where it says weapons. And what you're going to do, you're going to go through and select whatever weapons that you want to start your game with. All right. And the rarity or whatever. And when you drop those by hitting the triangle in this case, it will drop those onto the pad, and that'll be the weapons you're starting with. All right. So we're only going to, I've already done that elsewhere. So we're going to end up deleting this, but just to show you, again, hit start menu, go to My Island, go to creative, pick out your weapons, go to the weapons tab, So we would do this, like say we wanted a hammer assault rifle. All right, so we hold drop, and it will drop the hammer assault rifle onto the pad. And if we want more than one weapon to start with, again, go to My Island, go to creative, go to the weapons that you want. Let's say we wanted to start the match with a sideways scythe. All right. Hold triangle. It drops it onto the pad, enters it in the pad. Now those two items are in this pad. All right. And you can customize it for if you wanted to set it up for a team or whatever. We're not going to have a team set up on this because it's a target practice map, but this is how you would set your different weapons to start with. All right. So now I can go into and hit my triangle and see I have my 3 build options. So what I would do, I would hit L2 and I would, I might have started off with a floor before doing this, but you don't have to. If you're going to be raising it up, you obviously would want to do that. But anyway, I would put a wall and just go around, put a wall on each side. All right. Then if I do a double jump, I'm flying because of the way the settings are. I can hold the L2, do a floor, and place the floor on top of my four walls. All right, so place the floor, and now I have an indestructible box that I don't have to worry about anybody getting into or changing anything on or destroying. Because, as you see, I can't destroy that. All right, I can delete it if I need to for any reason. Um, but just to give you an idea, this is how it's going to be set up. All right, that would be how I did the weapons. And if, again, I'm going to delete all this, this was just kind of to show. All right, so we go to our inventory. If we hit triangle, we got another inventory option. We got a delete option. So if I highlight this and left click, it deletes it. So delete, 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 delete. And it always leaves that extra floor down. So now that's the way I've got this set up. And as you can see, there's the box over here. And what you're going to want to do, you're also going to want, once you get that set up, you're also going to want to take one of these player spawners. All right, so if I look at my inventory, it's under devices. I look for player spawner. So I'm looking for a spawning platform with something like this on it. So we got player reference. It's very similar. All right, guard spawner. That's if you want to put a guard in your map. Player checkpoint pad. All right, so here we go. Player spawner, all the way on the right hand side. All right, so you're going to want to do that so that you don't have to do the free fall all the way from the sky again whenever you start the map. So you put a player spawner wherever it is you decide that you're going to land every time. You can customize it. Use as island start. You want that on because that's what you want to use as your island start. Visible in game, you can turn that off if you don't want to see it whenever you start your game. Player team, in this case, is going to be any. All right, so there's the settings for that one. All right, so what I've got set up here, now there was my box with my weapon selection in front. Now I used one of these floor pieces. There's a reason I like this floor piece because it has a center marking, okay? So we've got our devices, we've got our spawn area, then I go one more in and I put another floor here, which is 2 for my box. Okay, now I've got a center, then I go 1 floor, 2 floors, and a target. All right, if you want to know what the target is, go to your settings again for your My Island. And again, this is another creative device. So you want to go find your targets. All right, so go down here, find your target as a shooting range gallery. All right, we'll equip that and we'll go over and just to show you how this is set up. Hold L2, push left, and it gives me, now we can rotate this if we want. As you see, the controls there, rotate it clockwise. What you want is to have it set up left, L1 and R1, have it set up to where it's parallel to the lines. All right. Or in this case, parallel to the box, or as close as you can get it. All right. So if you want to place individuals, so you would, this is important as far as the drops on. So if I put it up here and I have drops on, which is, as you see, a triangle. If I place this, it drops it all the way down to the ground. All right. If I have drops off, whenever I place it, it should stay there. So hit triangle and drops off means it stays where it's placed. Drops on means it drops from the sky and hits whenever it hits whatever it's supposed to stop on, it will stop falling. All right, so for this, we're going to have drops on, and it'll drop onto the floor, onto the ground, because we're on ground level anyway. All right, so right now we're just going to delete that. I don't need that moving section. So this is the same thing as we had over here, but this is a different target style. Okay, so this is a person size, shape. If you want to customize it, you can customize. Here we go. Now we got it. So you can customize the target type. All right, so standing, round would be that, which is, as you've seen over there, the round target. And you can set these up with triggers, okay? So the trigger, you can have it where it hops, which is moving up and down. You can go over, and if it's hit with a bullseye, it'll knock down. And just go through and set the settings however you prefer, but I'll go over what I've got. So you can enable this to work whenever you're receiving from a channel. So if there's another device that sends out a signal because it's on a channel, this target will receive the signal, and if it matches whatever number you set, it'll activate this target. All right, so I'll show you how that comes into play here in a minute. All right, so anyway, we're going to cancel that. I'm just going to delete this one again because I've already got it set up. All right, so now we've got targets. So we go into, we put a target there in the center. From the center one, we go into, put target in the center. And from the center again, we do into and put the target in the center. All right, so this is a basic setup for your targeting. All right, now if I'm in the center, I've got a target here directly across from a target here. All right, this target here is used to reset this counter. All right, so the counter there is being reset by this. If you look at the settings, all right, so enable receiving from when receiving from no channel. All these are no channel, no channel, no channel, until you get down to reset when receiving from. All right, reset when receiving from, I have it set at 5. So when it's hit, it transmits on 5 as well. So when I shoot this, it resets the target. Because it transmits on 5 and it resets on 5. So whenever I shoot this, it will reset the target. I also want it to transmit on 5 because on my customized timer, which I didn't show you where it was at. So again, you go to My Island, go to Creative, devices. We go up here and we find our target, or timer rather. So that's this one. This timer is the one we will be using, and you can set it up just behind the target basically. All right, so customize the timer. We start it when we're receiving from 3. All right, we reset it when it receives from 5. And if you remember, the target that we have in front of it is 5. So to reset this timer and the target sitting in front of the timer, both will be reset when receiving from 5. The timer will be enabled when it receives from 3. So it starts when it receives from 3. It is enables when it receives from 3. Complete, which is when the timer ends whenever it receives from 4. So the timer will stop if it receives a signal from 4. Okay? And the way I've got this set up, this one, as you see, will, when hit, it will transmit on 3. Well, 3 will start the timer on this timer. All right? So when I hit this target, it transmits on 3. All right? It resets when receiving from no channel. All right, so it doesn't need a channel to reset. It'll automatically reset, which you could probably have the other one set up similar to that too, but that's the way I did it. So when hit, transmits on 3. So what's the idea is, okay, we shoot that, it transmits on 3, starts this timer. All right, then this one is set to transmit when it is on hit on, it transmits on channel 4. All right, so now what will happen is I shoot this one, it starts the timer starts, I shoot this one, the timer stops. So this timer here will stop. All right, what that tells me is when I use a gun and shoot here, whenever I turn all the way around to here and shoot, it will reset, or stop the timer rather, and this one will reset the timer. So now this one starts it, this one stops it, timer tells me how fast that was. Once I know how fast I was, this one will reset. All right, so fire, fire, look at the number, reset, fire, fire, look at the number, reset. And the idea is to get this number here as low as possible, because when I customize the timer, I go down to on the settings, the count direction I have set to up. So this will count from 0 and go up. So the lower the number, the faster it was for us to shoot accurately from this target to this target. All right, and the reason this is important, so like if you're a PC player, all right, so what we would do to get our sense the way we want it, we will line up on this, and your mouse, one rotation, there should be one move of your mouse from left to right, you should end up centered on this one when you're all the way to your left movement. All right, if you're centered up on this one, you want to go all the way to your right movement. Move this all the way to your right movement. And that should be where your sense is set for where you're targeting. All right. Now, the speed at which you do that, your sensitivity is going to, that's your base sensitivity. Now, if you want it to go faster, you increase your speed. So you can go from here to here as fast as possible and accurately as possible. Okay, so that's kind of a setup for like a PC player. Or, for example, you do something similar if you use gyro settings. So if I was to want to set up gyro settings, I might go in my settings menu, and they're very similar. So I would go to the gyro settings, turn gyro aiming on, hit apply, back out. Now I want to know whenever I'm centered here, if I move my controller left, I want to be able to go from here all the way around to my farthest comfortable left position and end up here without even using my analog. Okay. So in this case, I'll just show you how that would set up. So set up centered on here. I go to my settings. All right. Go down to gyro aiming. My sensitivity needs to go up. On the sensitivity area. All right, so vertical to horizontal ratio, I don't really mess with that much. That's up and down compared to left and right. All right, steadying, that's going to be keeping your, how much vibration affects your movement, okay? Flick stick, that's a completely different setup. So I don't personally like that. Advanced gyro options, we can turn that on just to give you an idea. So how fast it would move, um, your aiming multipliers and that sort of thing. You can adjust all that. So sensitivity, if I set it to 4, for example. So if you want the camera to turn the same amount as the controller, then you're going to have it set to 1. You're going to increase, as you see what it says here, gyro aiming sensitivity, choose 1 for the camera to turn the same amount. 2 for the camera to turn twice as much. All right, well, obviously 1 wasn't good enough. Let's try 4, hit apply, and as you can see, I'm over here. When I turn all the way to the left, comfortably, I end up here. All right, if I go all the way to the right again, comfortably, I end up here. All right, so 4 is not bad. All right, 1 was too slow. This is 4, okay? Now, if it's a little too sensitive on your turning, you can, again, what I would recommend, I have a button, which is X, that disables the gyro. All right, so you get centered up, I hold X. Once I get it centered where I want it, somewhere, well, somewhere around there. All right, hold X there. Now, no matter how I move my controller, it's going to stay there. All right. So I center up. Now I go to where it's comfortable to the left. And if it ends up in the target, I'm good. If it doesn't, and I want it to go a little bit farther, then I'm going to increase it from 4 to 4 point whatever. All right. So it's almost where I like it. You do something similar to that with a mouse. Gyro settings are very similar to mouse movement. Thing with gyro settings, if you set that for gyro settings, it's kind of think of a mouse being upside down. And the thing with that though, gyro settings disable aim assist. So if you use gyro settings, you have 0 aim assist. Okay. You can do some pretty wicked stuff with gyro settings if you get good with them. Um, but right now, we're just going to leave it be. Okay, so go into your settings menu. We're going to turn the gyro aiming back off because this is, I wanted to show you how you would set up for a regular sensitivity settings and that sort of thing. All right, so gyro aiming's off for now. So what we would want to do, we go to the center of the map. Once you have all this set up, okay, this is your horizontal. So left to right. That's your horizontal setting. All right, I made a little ramp over my box. This is was the original box. Put a wall up. Put 2 walls. I put a ceiling with 2 of the platforms. I got a single platform here. Single platform here. All right, I put 2 ramps. There's another block. There's just a space block to separate the directions, and another 2 ramps. If you wanted to set this up exactly how I have it. All right, on this one, okay, it took a little bit of doing, but you can rotate a target to where you center it up as best as you can on this crosshair. So on the center of the floor. And because I went 2 in, this one is exactly the same distance as this one is from the box. All right, so I went 2 in and I centered that one as closely as I could on that floor piece. All right, now these are relatively in the same location, but one's down and one's up. And the idea on this one, when I shoot this one, when I go up and shoot this one starts the timer, this one stops the timer. This timer is again going from 0 and raising. That one is my reset, set to this channel for this particular counter. All right, so from here to there, I want it to be as low as possible. And that gives me my vertical setting. All right, so when I shoot here, I shoot here, I check the number, and this is at 0 at the moment. It will increase. I want to try to get that as low as possible. I like to try to get it around 0.0001, for example, which means that's the fastest shot I can get from here to here when I'm shooting a weapon. All right, you might shoot here, and by the time you get here, it could be 27 for all I know. I mean, it could be literally any number. All right, so anyway, first thing you're going to do, and I'll go ahead and start a game. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, go in here, we're going to start a game, because after you get all this set up, I'll show you how to check your settings. All right, so you're going to take out whatever weapon you choose. Make sure that's at 0. We go to our center line. This is my center marking. All right, 1 block away. Okay, now it's 2 blocks from that target, 2 blocks from that target. So we shoot this one. Then we go over and we shoot this one. And we try to, a couple of rounds. That was a 3. So you might go here, here. All right, that's 2. Give it a couple of rounds to get used to it. Your muscle memory will do a little bit of work here. Okay, so that was a 3. There's a 1. Okay. Get a feel for it. There's a 1. All right, we want to get it to where it's a typical thing. To reset it, go from here to there, try to get 1. All right, see how that is? Now, if you noticed, I was not looking down my scope. That is because I want to do my setting for my regular sensitivity setting first. All right, this is how you would check your sensitivity setting. And what I mean by my sensitivity setting, if I go up to settings, I go over to the controller with the gear on it. I go down to look at my sensitivity setting. All right, so my look horizontal speed. So that's my, I've got advanced settings on. So my look horizontal speed. And if you didn't want to use advanced settings, you could just change your sensitivity till it's comfortable by changing your look sensitivity here. So let's say this was off. If this was off, I could change my normal sensitivity up or down till it was comfortably getting those numbers that I was wanting, till I was getting the 1, for example. All right, so I turn this on because I like to do my own settings. All right, so my look horizontal speed right now, settings. Now, without using the scope, we're looking at the regular advanced look sensitivity. So look horizontal speed, it's just a regular look horizontal speed. That's not looking down my scope. All right, if I wanted to check it, go, the number for when I was going down my scope, that's my look horizontal speed under the ADS setting. Aim down sights is when you're scoped in. So, all right, so to put that in perspective, all right, this is sensitivity. All right. This is aim down sights sensitivity. All right. And the idea, okay, I am on exponential. So I have a slower control rate that I have this set up for. Obviously, you're going to want to do something similar for linear and get it to the best possible numbers for being able to turn for your style of play. All right, so once I get my ADS sensitivity, or not my ADS, my regular sensitivity, this is my horizontal. I get my horizontal in where I like it. Then I go over and I get my vertical where I like it. So boom, boom. Try to get that number as low as possible. Now I've got my regular sensitivity done, and my next step is to go over and use a weapon that I can aim down sights at. All right, so aim down sights. So my aim down sight sensitivity is going to go from here. How long does it take to go from here to here? All right. So I would get my ADS sensitivity. Boom. Boom. And what I like to have when I do my ADS sensitivity, I like to have it a little slower. It's a personal preference. You set it however you like. All right. Instead of a 1, I like to have it at a 2, for example. All right. And by doing that, that gives me that gives me the ability, if I want to slow down a little bit, I can zoom in, fire, zoom out to go faster, and zoom in again and fire. All right. That makes sense? All right. So you get used to it if you're doing stuff like that. All right. All right. Even on a reload, that was only 3 seconds. All right. That was 2 seconds. All right. You see where I'm going with this? Point is, this is a good indicator for your firing speed and how fast you can go from here to there. Check it. It gives you something to practice with. All right. Get it the way you like it. If it's not the way you like it, adjust it. So if it's too slow during your regular movement, go in there and you're going to adjust your regular look sensitivity. All right. If it's too slow or fast when you're aiming down your scope, you're going to adjust your aim down sights sensitivity. All right. Once you get that set, you can add boost if you like. And what that will do, give you an indication on what boost does. So let's say I'm sniping someone. All right. Since I've already got targeting set up, we'll use this. All right. So let's say I've got a target that I'm trying to track. Okay. So I'm tracking this person left to right. And I'm trying to track them. All right. Well, let's say they go way too fast, and no matter how much I push my analog left, I can't follow that person. Okay. They're going too fast for me to follow, and they're just creeping away from my shot. All right, well, there's a couple ways to handle that. I can come back and go forward a little bit and then take their shot to try to catch up with them. Or I can add a little bit of boost, and what will happen once I get to the point where I'm following behind them, if I'm following behind them, that boost might kick in. After I'm following them so far I can't keep up, then the boost will kick in and it'll bring me over to, so let's say I'm following along, and I just can't catch them. They keep running away. All right. Following along, they keep running away. I can't catch them. Well, if I'm setting a boost, I want it to follow along. I still can't catch them. Then the boost kicks in and it goes faster. Now I can catch them. Okay, so for sniping shots, that's really ideal. So I'm following along with them. All right. Follow along. Boom. Follow along. Boost kicks in. And follow along, and the boost kicks in. I can catch up with them again. All right. So that's what the boost is for. So you would add a little bit of boost if you couldn't catch your targets. That way you can still keep your aim the way you like. And it is basically a micro adjustment to your um, speed. All right. So, and with the boost ramp time, all right. So the boost ramp time was that's doing. So let's say I was following along behind the person. Um, for a short period, I might want to be close because it's within a certain distance. I'm following along just fine. I want them to be, where my aim was. I don't want it to kick in with boost yet because it's going to throw my shot off. All right. So I have a nice slow amount of time, and then my boost kicks in, throws my shot off. That's what the boost ramp time is. Okay. So how long it is before that boost kicks in. So if it's 3 seconds, for example, 3 seconds from the time I started moving, my boost will kick in. In this case, mine's at 0.15. So in 0.15 seconds from the time that I started moving, my boost will kick in. So if I haven't tracked to the target in 15 tenths of a second or 0.15 seconds, my boost will kick in and allow me to catch the target. If I have a lot more boost, it's going to kick in faster and it's going to jerk harder to whatever direction I'm going. So that would be your turning horizontal boost. Your vertical is the same situation, but it's going up and down. Your turning horizontal is left to right. Right? So if that makes sense. And again, it's going to vary from turning horizontal and vertical of the regular sensitivity. That's going to be without looking down your scope. Your ADS is going to be looking down your scope. All right, now the look dampening time, what that's going to be doing, like say you're moving along really fast and you don't want to come to a jerky stop. You might put a dampening on your movement that it'll come to a slower stop. Okay, basically. So I'm running along, following somebody. If I don't want it to come to a jerky stopping motion, I might put a dampener on how fast it would be to stop. That'll give you a little bit of um, a smaller adjustment for your rotation speed. So that's going to be your look dampening. You're going to go a little bit if you want it to dampen, or it's kind of like putting the brakes on. It's basically what dampening is. It's kind of like putting the brakes on your movement. Instead of coming to, like you're driving along in your mom's car, instead of coming to a stop sign and her slamming on the brakes and you stopping right at the stop sign, she's going to push down slowly on the brakes and come to a nice slow stop because mom loves you and all that, right? So that's basically what your look dampening is. Me, I kind of like the jerky stop, so I don't have any dampening on. All right. If you like the dampening, though, by all means, adjust it how you like. This is the way you would set up your own stuff. And the reason my stick dead zone is as high as it is because my stick's a little worn in. So what you would do, so you look at your stick. Best way I can tell you, you wiggle your stick around in your hand. All right. So you would hold your controller in your hand. You wiggle your hand around in a circular motion. And if you have any motion on here where this yellow area on your stick goes wiggling out of the circle, you're going to want to increase the stick dead zone until the yellow circle falls inside the blue, the dark blue. Okay, same thing with the right stick. If I wiggle it around, I want that to come in to where it's inside the dark blue. All right, so somewhere around there. That's where the yellow should be, inside the dark blue. All right, and what that does, it keeps me from having stick drift. So what stick drift is, if you're not familiar, so if I have stick drift, sometimes I'll be standing here still. As you can see, I'm standing still. I'm not moving at all. If I have stick drift, though, it'll be doing something like this. All right, that means I need to adjust my dead zone to keep it from doing this, because if I'm not moving it, I don't want it moving. All right, so you adjust your stick drift out. You get rid of it by changing your dead zone. All right, so if you're doing this on your left analog, when you let go, it should stop. If it doesn't and keeps going, you want to adjust your dead zone. Same thing with the right. If I'm looking right and left and it just keeps going like this, when I let go, it should stop. If it keeps going like it was, even a little bit, I want to adjust my dead zone to get rid of that. All right, so that's your dead zone setting. So now we've gone over, we've got our horizontal setting. We got our stick drift dead zone setting. We also got our vertical setting. All right, so horizontal left to right, vertical left to right, or up and down rather. So horizontal left to right, vertical up down. All right, then we go center up, scoped. So horizontal, adjust it how we want it. Scoped, vertical, and adjust it how we want it. And that's under your settings. All right, so down here, that's your sensitivity settings. And when you're not using advanced options, your aim sensitivity, that's your scoped. Your look sensitivity, that's your non-scoped. All right. Then your build mode sensitivity, that's going to be completely different. That's a completely new thing. So like before, I wanted to try building. So if I want to do a ramp, all right, I'm doing a ramp, wall, all right, all that. That's going to be controlled by your sensitivity settings for your build. All right, so that's going to be under this section. So your build settings will be in that section, but your sensitivity settings for your build mode is going to be here. And if you notice, it says build mode sensitivity multiplier. All right, if it's set at 1.0, it's going to be just the same as if I was not in build mode. It would move the same amount of space as I am right now. Same speed, however it would be. That's my build mode sensitivity. The up and the down and the left and the right in build mode. All right. If it's at 1.0. If I want it faster than that when I'm in build mode, which in my case, I have it set faster. All right. When I bring up a build like this, now, if you look, okay, without the build, left, right, all right. With build, See how much faster it goes? Left to right. Same thing up and down. All right. You want that adjusted for how it works best for you. So if you're running along and you go to build a ramp or whatever, if anything you're building, if you go over here and you go to build another thing or like a ramp or a floor or a wall, if you go to build that and you end up looking way over here when you really just wanted to be doing another ramp on top of here, you just accidentally moved a little bit. That's way too sensitive for you to be able to control. You're not trying to wildly build, you're trying to control it. All right. So if I build walls and stuff and I can't control where my builds are going, you're going to end up doing what they call panic building. All right, that's where I just run over here and I just start doing this kind of stuff. It's just all over the place, and I don't even know where I'm looking at now. All right, so we don't want that. You want a controlled build. All right. Well, part of that is being able to adjust your build settings. So you go in your settings. If your sensitivity is too high for you to be able to control, you're going to lower it. Same way with your edit sensitivity, all right? So once you got your build sensitivity set, then we're going to do your edit sensitivity. All right, so let's say we build a wall. All right. Now, I've got my build where I want it. I can build a wall, build a wall, build a wall, build a wall, and you see how I did a nice little 1x1. All right, now that was comfortable for me building that wall. We're not trying to say you're pro, but if you wanted faster or whatever suits you, it's fine to adjust that higher or lower. Just get it where you need it. And your edit, if I go to edit something and I go from here to do the edit, and I flick my controller down from here to here, and I can't do that fluidly. If I go from here to here and end up way over here, that's not a good edit speed. I need to adjust that till I can go from here to here and go. See, if I do that and I end up flicking way over here, that's bad. So if I do my edit, I want to be able to do all four of those, or edit, select those three, and do it fast. So like that. Put a door in. Point is, I want to be able to do those edits as fast as I possibly can. All right. And if I don't, and can't do it comfortably, then I need to adjust it. Okay? So that's going to be the conclusion for the video for the day. Hopefully this kind of helps out. So we've got our settings for our left and right, our up and down. We've got our build mode multipliers. All right. Then it's just going to be a matter of getting down your practice to where you can do everything fluidly. And before you know it, you'll be building ramps the way you want instead of building random things. And you'll be able to shoot the way you want instead of not being able to control it. All right, so hopefully this helps you guys out. And again, I am on exponential, but this should apply pretty well to linear settings as well. And that's the end of the video for the day. So God bless you guys, and have a great one.